Hello, all you Hallmark movies and mysteries fans. We are so excited to be hosting the very first Hallmark Movies and Mysteries podcast. I am Brennan Elliott, and alongside me is my beautiful co-host, Nikki DeLoach.
Thank you, Brennan. Hi, guys. This is so exciting.
Now, throughout the year, we're going to be giving you the inside scoop on everything, and I mean everything happening on the channel.
That is right. That is absolutely right. And on today's podcast, we have something great for you guys. We are going to be talking about miracles of Christmas movies that just tug at your heartstrings and inspire you and rekindle your faith in Christmas miracles.
Well,
how's that for a start?
Well said, Nikki. Well said. You know, it's. I know you and I have both done many movies on the Hallmark Movie and Mystery Channel, and obviously we all know the power and the reach to an audience the Hallmark Channel has. But I'm just so impressed, touched, inspired, and just I'm falling in love with what the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries Channel is doing. From the type of movies, the content they're putting out, and I just think it's just exploding. The fans are really just wanting to see more and more of beautiful product and content. Do you agree?
I absolutely agree. And I'm so excited that we get to actually talk about them. And we have some really, really great movies to talk about.
Absolutely. Now, everybody that's listening at home, I want you, from Nikki and I both, to know that we think of you as part of our family. And this podcast is a way to not only thank you for all you've done, but to thank you because you've made us the most watched channels on television.
Okay, so we got a very exciting day for you guys, all right? We are going to sit down with some of your favorite stars from this season's most memorable Christmas movies on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
Can't wait.
I mean, Amy Teagarden, Brett Dalton, Mark Taylor, Kimberly Sastad, Paul Campbell. We've got some amazing people for you. And we're going to talk about movies that really just celebrate the miracles of Christmas. My heart is actually starting to explode, like, as we speak. And the really, really cool thing about some of these movies is that some of them are based on real-life true stories.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. We both did Christmas movies for the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries Channel this year, and the one that I am in with Danica McKellar, another star on the network, called Christmas at Grand Valley, airs December 21st. It's interesting because I always feel like when I do a Hallmark Movies and Mysteries movie at Christmas or even throughout the year, there's a real sense of truth, of groundedness, of honesty, and a simple story that really touches at your heartstrings and really inspires and really affects an audience. And I'm very proud to be a part of this movie and any movie in the future and in the past I've done. And so on December 21st, I believe it's 9 p.m. on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. Come check out Danica McKellar and I, and Dan Loria, both of them from Wonder Years, for Christmas at Grand Valley. And you, Nikki, have an amazingly beautiful movie as well coming out. Tell us all about it.
I do, but hold on. I'm setting my DVR from your movie right now. And
you are so
done. Okay. So I will be there with bells on. I've had the same experience. You know, I am so fortunate to be able to tell stories through Hallmark that I feel like really matter to people.
Absolutely.
And stories that bring people together. And I that's so cool. And I think something that has truly been missing from the ethos, you know, and that's why people are just coming to Hallmark to watch these movies. And Christmas Reunited was the movie that I got to do this year for Hallmark. And it was really, really, really special to me because, you know, it's a story that I took to Hallmark and I really wanted to talk about an entire family, you know, a family that has not been together for a very long time for Christmas. And they're brought together for one last Christmas to spend, you know, to do all the traditions together. And the reason why I felt it was so important is because I think that people, whatever it is, whether your family goes through separations or people get married and spend Christmases elsewhere, you know, I really wanted to implant in people's heads the importance of always remembering to come back together with the ones that you love.
I love it.
And my movie has aired, but I'm sure it'll be repeating. Go ahead, Brennan, and why don't you put that on your DVR as well?
Oh, it's already on the DVR. I've already got it.
Great.
Yeah.
And then we could just watch each other's, and then we can talk about, you know, how much we loved them.
Yes, exactly. You know, it's funny. Just as you were speaking, I was thinking about an experience that, you know, I didn't obviously. Christmas at Grand Valley was Danica McKellar's movie, and I was just lucky to be a part of it. But I remember being on set one day, and I have two little children, a 4 and a 6-year-old, and I haven't played a father. I can't remember the last time I played a father, and I It
Wow.
seemed, I was just feeling not insecure, but it was just seemed daunting to me because these two kids were just so full of life. And so when I got on set with them, the very first scene I had was with these two kids, and it was kind of a longer scene, and it just felt, I just felt like I'm with my children. Now, I'm obviously, they're not my children, but I felt back in that father energy that I feel when I'm at home, and it just made me missing them a lot less, which is a great, it's just good for me to be way up north in Toronto in the Muskoka County, and being a father made me, not only miss my kids, but made me feel like I was closer to them that I didn't expect. And I think that you nailed it on the head, that these movies, not only for our audience, but I think even for actors, producers, directors, people that are involved in them, we get a chance to live in a world that makes us feel good, makes us feel like a part of something positive. And I think there's something really, really special in that, and especially in this climate and the way the world is and what's going on in the world. And that's why, millions and millions of people are viewing Hallmark Movies and Mysteries on the Hallmark Channel. And just not only are we honored to be a part of that family, but the fans and people that are fans of yours and mine and all the stars that we're going to be meeting today are just so embracing of it. And I think that's a big reason for that.
Well said, my friend. I mean, I could try and say it better, but I don't think it's possible.
Well, I don't know. And you're going to be saying a whole lot more things better than I will be today. Let me tell you. Well, I don't know about you, Nikki, but truth be told, I think the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel is delivering content that just, might be a step above right now, the Hallmark Channel. What do you think? I don't know. People are coming in, and millions and millions and millions of people are viewing it, and they're loving it. I think there's a battle going on.
Oh, man. You just got it started, didn't you?
I opened up a whole can of worms here.
I love it. By the way,
Yeah.
everybody, nobody loses from some good quality competition. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're going to be big cheerleaders. Let's
Yep.
see what the Hallmark Channel has next, right?
I saw we're going to have him today, Paul Campbell from Godman Christmas. And I remember watching it in my office, and I was watching the movie on my iPad, and I was blown away by the production value.
I was too.
The snow,
Brennan.
it was amazing to me. And they did that in Vancouver in like September or something, I think. I'll get the real scoop from Paul.
Are you kidding me?
It was so beautiful, and I wanted to be there.
I know. I was watching it too, and I had the same reaction. The set deck,
Yeah.
the snow that they had blanketed. I was wondering if they were doing it during a time where it was actually snowing up there.
Yeah.
I was honestly so blown away by the quality of it. So
And you
I don't know,
and you want to be there. You want to be there. You want to be in
I did.
that world. And so, it's I feel like it's not 1 and 2 or 1A, 1B. I think it's a healthy competition. It's neck and neck.
I think
Our
so, too.
Hallmark fans might be like, no, but hey, I'm telling you, they're coming over to watch ours. I have fans that are really, really impressed with the production value and the scripts. Some of the content and the material is so honest and so grounded, and it's so simple and very real. And I don't know, it's just heartfelt, and I'm really excited to be hosting this, podcast with you, to get these people to come and watch the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries and embrace it as much as every other channel that's out there for the Hallmark Channel. So it's exciting. Really
I
exciting.
am too, Brennan. I am so excited, and there's no one I would rather be sitting here with than you. This is and talking about. I'm just excited for Hallmark in general. Just the fact that we have this other network where we can tell all of these other movies, real life stories.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very exciting time to be here.
So, partner, are you ready to maybe set up our first movie and guests? How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling pretty great about it. How are you feeling about it?
I'm fantastic. Oh, I'm so excited to introduce this on our first Hallmark Movies and Mystery podcast, our first film and our first guests. I just want to start by saying, Nikki, you and I both know this, but everybody understands that there are always miracles all around us. We just got to listen and see. And some of the best Christmas stories that are on the Hallmark Movies and Mystery Channel are inspired by real life. A Godman Christmas, I love that name, is based on a true love story featured in this popular book by the same name.
It's so true. It's actually might be one of my favorite titles of a Hallmark movie ever.
Yeah.
And we're so lucky today, and the listeners are so lucky because the stars are going to be in the room with us, and we are going to be talking about the movie. Kimberly Sustad and Paul Campbell are here, and we are going to discuss what can happen when God sends you a wink.
right, Hallmark movies and mystery fans. Nikki and I are both very, very excited. We talked about this, obviously, before the show. This is a movie we've both seen. I've seen it a couple of times, and just really, really special film. And we are blessed to have with us the two stars of the film, two of three, Kimberly Sustad and Paul Campbell, everybody.
Hi.
Hey, guys. How are you? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays,
Happy holidays
to
to
you.
you.
Thank you. I'd love to start because I know a lot of fans have it DVR'd and maybe some are waiting to still see it. And, you know, it's the festive season. It's always people are busy. But for people that have not seen the movie, if one of you could start by just giving us a plot summary, would be wonderful.
Absolutely. Kimberly's pointing at me, so I'll take that away.
Your turn,
the
Paul.
movie's called A Godwink Christmas. Yeah. And a Godwink it's an event that is so extraordinary that it can't be chalked up to mere coincidence. There's a divine element in play. That's the idea. The movie is based on the true story of Gary and Paula Conover, who owned the Charlotte Inn in Martha's Vineyard. And it's their love story. It's the extraordinary circumstances that brought Paula to Martha's Vineyard to meet Gary, and the series of events that these Godwinks that kept bringing them together, and eventually forced them to really just go, all right, this is meant to be something. There's something here. This is our love story, and that's the story that we're telling in the movie.
I love it so much. And by the way, from the moment I actually saw the title, A Godwink Christmas, I got so excited because I've been talking about Godwinks for years because I feel like it happens to me all the time. And I actually feel like it happens to everyone. But, you know, sometimes you're just not paying attention, right? But if you like open your eyes and you're really listening, I believe that God is speaking to us all the time.
I keep thinking God should be louder to me so I can hear him, but that's besides the point.
So let me ask you guys this, Kimberly and Paul. What is the biggest God wink you've ever been given?
Yeah, I think I've actually told this story. I won't tell the whole story, but when I met my husband, we had some pretty extraordinary circumstances happen that brought us together. That's the biggest one. The very first night that we actually didn't like each other to begin with, when we were holding hands and there was a meteor shower.
Stop it.
Yeah, there were, and I've never to this day ever seen anything like it, but it was hundreds and hundreds of stars literally falling from the sky. We were in Ecuador, of all places. We met randomly there. And then we actually wound up going to the same university a year later without having that planned.
Wow.
So that was similar to, I think, Paula and Gary's story, probably the largest God wink. And of course, I really do believe that they are moments in time that stand still for a second. And if you're, Nikki, like what you said, if you do listen and pause, it can change the direction or even the tempo of your heart or thoughts.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I thought that my husband and I met under extraordinary circumstances, with me being a pop music group and him being in a pop music group. But your story actually takes the cake and is way better.
Wait a minute. You were in a pop music group?
Yeah, wait a second. I think yours is way better. I want to hear more about this pop group.
My
No,
co-host
you really don't. Okay, Paul, we're moving on to Paul. Paul, what was the biggest?
No, not quite yet. No, I'd like to hear a little more about this pop group too. So I think my biggest Godwink is how my son came to be. My wife and I had struggled for a few years with getting pregnant, and we're told that the only way that we could ever have a child is via surrogate. We had to have another woman carry our child. And so, but in Canada, it's very difficult. You can't actually pay. You have to have a volunteer. You have to have someone actually volunteer 10 months of their life to do this. Wow. So we kind of exhausted all of our options. We were feeling pretty down and thought maybe it wasn't meant to be. And then randomly, my wife opened the email account for this foundation that we were running at the time, a nonprofit. And this woman had reached out, had sort of seen our profile somewhere online and reached out and said, hey, if you're still interested in having a child, I'd love to talk about maybe acting as a surrogate for you.
Oh, wow.
And we got in touch with her via FaceTime with her and her husband. We spoke with them, and they agreed to do it right there. And we have a 2.5-year-old.
Congratulations,
son.
man. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
thank
incredible.
you. Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
I think Paul's takes the cake.
There were no
All right,
meteors.
That's true.
Yeah, there was no meteor.
Just one giant one.
You know, guys, I mean, as actors, you know, I find it interesting. I don't know about if you've had it, Nikki, where you've had a chance to play a real person. I know it can be daunting. At least it was for me. These are based on real people, which is powerful in itself. And I just wanted to know, as actors, I mean, how was that experience? Were they on set? Did you get a chance to meet them in person? You know, how was that experience playing real people?
It was pretty extraordinary. I think Paula and Gary were not on set, but they're very, very close friends, Squire Rushnell and Louise Duarte, who coined the term Godwinks and who have written this book series about Godwinks and wrote the first book about Gary and Paula. They were on set throughout, so it felt like we were connected to Paula and Gary through them.
Oh, what a gift.
And
Yeah.
Kathie is friends with him as
And
well.
Kathie, right, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, Kathie's also very good friends with them. So big shoes to fill. It's such an incredible story. And when you hear about who Paula and Gary really are and you see what they've created in the Charlotte Inn and this, just the world that they've created for themselves, you really get a sense that you're telling a very special story and you have to handle it very carefully. It was... And then I think you kind of let all of that go, you know.
Right, of course, yeah.
You guys are actors, and you get when you're making the movie, you're just focused on telling that love story in the best way that you can, and telling it in a genuine, grounded way, and without trying to. I was never trying to be Gary. I never could
of course.
fill those shoes. I was trying to tell his story in the most organic, respectful way possible.
Speaking of Kathie Gifford, Nikki, I hear you're a little bit of a fan, or were you a little bit of a stalker? One of the two. I'm not sure, really.
You could say stalker.
Yeah.
You absolutely could. I think that's very appropriate in this circumstance. To be honest, I actually go to Soul Cycle, and her daughter showed up to Soul Cycle one day, and I was like, it took everything I had not to like run up to her and be like, "You're Kathie Lee Gifford's daughter. Can I meet your mother?" It's like, that's not how I'm going to get to her. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the right way. But you guys actually know her. And Kimberly, she plays your aunt in the movie, which I thought was so lovely. And she was so great in the movie. How was it working with Kathie Lee Gifford? Because this is something I really want to do. It's on my bucket list.
Nikki, if there was a person that was going to be next, it would be you. For sure. Kathie is a gift. She really is. And I think that energy that really draws people to her through her show and just through everything that she does is so authentic. She was just like that.
Yeah, she's great. The relationship with you two is wonderful.
The very first day on set, I was pretty excited to meet her as well, Nikki. And when she came, she was so warm and welcoming that we just hit it off right away. I actually ended up somehow telling her my life story, and we were both crying in the green room and held up going into our scene. I don't know how that happened, but we just went deep really fast.
I love this
after the movie,
so much.
Yeah, it was incredible. I was just like, I don't know why. At one point, I turned to her, I was like, I don't know why I'm sharing all of this with you.
Because she's Kathie Lee Gifford.
I know. It was like talking to Oprah or something like that. She just like pulls it out of you. And after the movie wrapped 5 days later, I actually went to her house and stayed with her for a
Oh,
week.
wow.
I'm actually on the floor right now. Nobody can, like, you guys can see me, but
Yep.
the audience can't see me. I'm just like laying on the floor.
This interview just
That's
went
amazing.
south. It just
Yeah,
went
she
really
was
south
like,
real
you're
quick.
coming to my house, we're hanging out, and you're drinking my wine. And my husband and I did, and it was an incredible experience. I ended up doing the Today Show with her just as a gift because I was there, but she was so much fun to hang out with and just really fun to see her life and hang out in her house. And
You guys filmed it, when was it, September, October? What month did you film the movie?
August.
August.
It was
So you're in the
August. It
summer.
was hot.
Yeah,
Middle
and
of
it just looked Christmassy. It had, the snow looked great. The production value was really, really
65
amazing.
tons of snow is what they trucked in for that movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What would look like
In a
it
pickup
did.
truck.
It was absolutely stunning, and you guys were incredible. And it's probably one of my favorite Hallmark movies that I've watched.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You guys should be very proud.
Thank you.
I guess I'll leave you guys on
Oh.
this, and I wanted to ask you if you had any favorite Christmas memories growing up this holiday season that you've had, as you grew up, or maybe you're doing it with your children now, or what have you.
When I grew up, we had horses, and one of our traditions was actually I grew up in the prairies of Canada, and my mom actually hitched a sleigh to them, and we would throw each other off the sleigh into this 40-foot deep drifts, and the other person would just have to kind of run and try to catch up. But we actually did a Hallmark movie every year. We would have a sleigh ride, which was, when I look back, thinking so incredible. And this year, my parents are actually coming out here to visit us with our kids, and we are going to go on a dry sleigh ride, even though there's no snow in Vancouver. But we've managed to figure out how to surprise my mom with. Oh my gosh, I hope this doesn't air before she gets here, but it won't. Yeah, we're going to arrange a sleigh ride and try and put that back into our tradition, since we're all together again this year.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's lovely.
How about you, Paul?
You know, I think in the last, as an adult, I haven't really developed any traditions. I've been bouncing around so much. But as a kid, I just distinctly remember Christmas Eve, my dad would always read The Night Before Christmas. And there was another little book called Mousekin's Christmas, which we read. And then we would get one pair of new pajamas. We'd get to sleep in those. And then we weren't allowed to get up before 7 a.m. We weren't allowed to come downstairs before 7 a.m. because my parents were probably up until the middle of the night wrapping gifts.
Yeah.
And so my sister and I would wake up at some horrible hour, like 4:30 or 5 in the morning, and just be excited off of our heads, but be watching the seconds tick by until 7. And we would sit at the top of the staircase with the little clock watching it tick. And the second it hit 7 a.m., it was like a tornado. We would just rip through the house.
Wow.
Scream. We'd turn the music up. We would bang on all the doors. We'd wake everybody up, and then we would go and just unwrap the stockings, and then we'd have bacon and eggs, which was torturous to wait to unwrap the rest of the gifts. And, and then we would have a big family dinner. That was Christmas.
Here's our God wink for you. A little inside scoop. The movie was so popular this year. I don't know. Maybe there's a God wink in the future, but don't be surprised if maybe there's a God wink movie in 2019.
I think there should be.
I think there should be. It's Nikki and Kathie
That's why I'm
Lee.
being very
Nikki
quiet about
Kathie
this,
Lee.
guys, because I know the
And-
answer to it.
Yeah.
But I want it to be a surprise for everyone.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
There's only one caveat, that Nikki and I can have small bit parts.
Please?
And can drink wine with Kathie Lee Gifford.
It's just the two of us, you and me, Brennan, drinking wine with Kathie Lee.
Yeah, we'll just have one scene on the couch and we're just drinking wine with Kathie Lee Gifford. All right, you guys, listen, all the best to you and your families for Christmas. It was just a
Merry Christmas,
wonderful
guys.
movie.
Thanks so much.
And thanks for taking time out with us. And
You're welcome.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
So all of our movies on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries celebrate life. Oh, how great is that?
Awesome.
And are an inspirational experience which gives us hope and it rekindles our faith, not only in each other, but I believe in the world at large, right?
So perfectly said. I couldn't agree more. Our second movie that we're going to be talking about today and interviewing two amazing stars is Once Upon a Christmas Miracle. I don't know how they get these names. They're so inspiring. It's a heartwarming true story of a Marine who returns home from duty and chooses to give a complete stranger the ultimate gift of life.
Brett Dalton plays real-life Marine Chris Dempsey, who is inspired to save the life of a complete stranger. guys. Heather Kruger, a woman in desperate need of a liver donor, played by Amy Teagarden. And today is such a treat
Yep.
because we have the stars of the movie with us, Brett Dalton and Amy Teagarden.
Yay!
Hi, guys.
Well, I guess we're stars, but also I feel like the real stars are, the people who inspired this movie and did such a heroic thing.
Yeah, most selfless act I think I've ever seen.
My goodness.
For our fans who maybe haven't seen the movie yet, maybe it's DVR, they're going to be seeing it. If either one of you or both of you could just share with you the plot of the movie, so that obviously our fans can get excited to know what it's about and go watch it.
So the movie's about this girl, Heather Kruger, who finds out she has stage 4 liver failure and needs a living donor ASAP. Her family and friends get tested. Nobody's a match. And this guy, who Brett Dalton plays, Chris Dempsey, and this is based off a real story, overhears in a break room that this girl needs a liver transplant. And he goes and gets tested, finds out he's a match, complete stranger, and offers to give her half of his liver. She is so overwhelmed with all of it. And it's Christmas time, and the liver transplant is successful, and as they're recovering in the hospital together, the love story deepens, and I won't give it away, but it is a beautiful, wonderful Christmas miracle.
Yes, it is.
Well said.
You have anything to add to that, Brett?
No, I mean, of
That's
course.
pretty clear.
Of course, here we go. It is very clear. And no, I was going to say, I mean, I'm really bad at these summaries, but I've tried to be good and make it smaller. I think it's about an ordinary guy who does an extraordinary thing.
Yeah.
And there's a set of really miraculous events that happen after that.
Yeah.
One of which is him finding a wife in the
process.
In the process,
Yeah.
Exactly.
We had the opportunity to screen this at the Grove, and I was so fortunate because I got to ride to the event with the real life Heather and the real life Chris and Heather's parents, which was incredible. And I got to actually be a part of it. I was saying to someone that night that the movie could have felt so hard and sad and painful at times because it is. I mean, I know as a parent, when you get that type of diagnosis for your kid, that it is devastating. But talking to Heather's parents, I understand how they were able to keep the movie so positive.
Yeah, I mean, they were only on set for 2 days. I wish they were there every single day. This is obviously, as you were mentioning, a subject that could have been so serious and so devastating and so overwhelming. I think that it could have, in different hands or in different circumstances, been a completely different event. But the way Chris did this, I mean, he's such a it's an extraordinary act done by a very ordinary person.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, he was a Marine. I mean, sure, this is part of his DNA, but this is a guy who heard about this in a break room while he was working at a Christmas tree farm.
Yeah.
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 So, and he decided, yeah, sure, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that we honored the spirit of him and the spirit of the film and their story in the sense that this was something that he did. I'm not saying on a whim. It wasn't on a whim, but this is something that he did. Where am I going with this, Amy?
I think the biggest thing, the takeaway from this movie and this story, and it's why I really wanted to be a part of it after I sort of did a little bit of cyber stalking on the real life couple, and they are the most amazing couple I've ever met, and so sweet and so generous, and the fact that a complete stranger can give another person, just from the goodness of their heart, a second chance at life. I mean, that is
It's amazing.
talking about the ultimate gift.
And I mean, obviously, under the spirit of Christmas, it's all about being selfless and giving. And so there was a really nice, parallel to that. And I was, we both were talking earlier off camera about experiences that we're presently going through or have gone through where we've had to really be selfless to our families, whether it's my kids or my wife or her kids. And I went into the movie reading what it was about, but not knowing exactly how I was going to be affected by it. And there was a few moments where I had to leave, not because I was like, this is too heavy, but I was so impressed by how it was handled, the content, like you were mentioning, Brad, about how the director made everything seem selfless, but not so heavy that it made me feel like, well, I could do that.
Yeah.
because you made me feel like I could do that, and that was really. And I've played real life people before, and I want to ask both of you this. Even when I was watching the movie, and I left when it ended, and I want to ask you actually when it ended. Playing real life people is daunting, to say the least. And obviously, in these movies, we don't have all the time in the world to prep and stuff. Did you take some of this material home? Like when you would come home playing these people, I mean, how did it feel when the cameras weren't rolling and you were in the hotel room? I mean, because it is a very affecting piece, and I was so affected by it that I thought if I was to play your role, based on the experiences that I'm going through or have gone through, it'd be tough. It'd be tough to go home and go, okay, cool. I'm gonna sit down, have a glass of wine, and relax a little bit. But it would be like, wow, this is hardcore.
Yeah. I mean, I think it affected me on the film set itself. I'm getting a text from Chris Dempsey. Just kidding.
Was that next guest already?
Yeah. Something I said? No, I think that on the set, it felt like that spirit was really infectious.
Yeah.
And we were shooting late nights. There's a lot of this stuff. I mean, it's movie magic, but it looks like a postcard at some moments. It's just too beautiful to imagine.
Did the director ever ask you guys within the context of the story to just, because everything you'd mentioned, Nikki, I never walked away from this when I watched this film. I never felt that it was so heavy that I was like, wow, I can't watch. You know what I mean? Like I always saw in both of your guys' eyes either you dealing with, needing the liver transplant and your parents dealing with that pain, which is on the page could be taken in a totally different way, more dramatic, maybe even, and I felt that your selflessness was. I didn't see this struggle of like, oh my gosh, I don't know if it was really well played, both of you guys on both your parts, and I was wondering if that was, you brought your choices in, or did the director say at moments, we got to keep this a little bit light, because it is not light, but not, you know what I mean, not going to that place, because it could go that way.
I think. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, my dear. I think that was the spirit of the characters.
Yeah,
truly.
Good. Yeah, it was
I'll
wonderful.
speak to just Chris because that was, obviously the person I was playing. But Heather as well. I guess I am speaking to her. Both of these, I think that was the spirit of the people. So if that's what you're getting, that
And you
is
guys did
them
your job
coming
admirably.
through us.
Yeah.
Chris was not somebody who wanted to be celebrated as a hero.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite moments in the thing is he says, hey, I'm your donor. I went to get tested. That's why I wanted to see you in person. This is all great.
And you guys at the cafe talking.
Yeah. And then I finally got my eggnog. And then, so what's good here?
Yeah, it's a great moment.
It was great. And that's exactly what Chris would have done.
Yeah.
When he was on set, we would talk about something. It would go into something serious for just a little bit, and then he would make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
So that wasn't
great.
from the director. That was honoring.
And it's
the
nice to
spirit
have
of
Chris and to have those real people there, even just for a couple of days, to get their energy and what they were.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I loved about that, after also going through so much in my family in the last 2 years, just so you have some backstory, I had a baby who was born and had to have open heart surgery, and then he just had his second one.
Oh, babes.
And
I'm
I know
sorry.
from personal experience that miracles exist, right?
Oh.
After playing the story, playing these people, being so close to it, has it changed or altered your belief in miracles?
I'm so sorry to hear that, Nikki. I didn't know about
Hey, listen,
any of that.
it's okay, because it's changed my life. It's given me tremendous gifts, a perspective, and there's not a day that goes by that I am not grateful for the air that I breathe, the relationships that I have with everyone. They're just amplified, like with all the heartache. And I think that's the thing that when talking to Heather and Chris, I completely understood. I looked at them and I was like, oh, yeah, because you've been through the fire, right? So when you come out of the other side, you're just like, wow, life is great. Life is good. And in all of this, I've been able to take away 1,000 gifts. I will never be the same person. And that is a miracle.
And you even
itself.
mentioned earlier, Nikki, to me, there's that scene where you guys are both taken in for surgery, and your parents are saying goodbye to you. And we both have had that experience, with my wife and her with her daughter, or her son. And to see the parents dealing with that was so affected with them not doing anything. They were obviously experiencing the emotion of the moment, but we were talking about it earlier. And so we were just honored and proud to see this film because it was so well done. Your guys' chemistry was fantastic. It was grounded. It was honest. It was, amazing. And obviously Hallmark Movie Mysteries does a lot of movies about vets. We have Veterans Christmas that premiered this year, Coming Home for Christmas, Operation Christmas. So they have a great relationship with veterans in the Army and in the armed forces. And so I thought this was a classy, well-played and honest movie that obviously affected us, as hosts and as an audience member. And I know everybody else that saw the movie I was in the car. She drove with the real people. I drove with a guy named Akmar from Glendale, who was Armenian and basically didn't speak English, but he was a nice guy. But basically, I was trying to talk to him about this movie, and he was like, it's very good, yes, very good.
He watches Hallmark too.
Yes, he does. Yes, I know he does. But I was very, very affected by it, and it was absolutely fantastic. So our fans are, going to be really, really touched by it. So the Christmas traditions was important in the film. You had the checklist of the 4 or 5 things they do with the family.
Yeah.
Did that radiate with you at all based on your upbringing? I mean, did you guys have any kind of family traditions?
That was such a tongue twister. I can't even say tongue twister. That Freudian. Yeah, so it was the Kruger's family 5 must-do Christmas traditions, like the Christmas cookie exchange and things like that I stumbled my way through so many times on set. So thank you for our crew for being so patient with me.
Oh, yeah. No, I think the actual shot was the back of your head, and you probably ADR'd it. It's great.
Somebody else ADR'd it. It wasn't even me. They weren't even allowing me to do it.
The voice seemed deeper, but I won't say
Yeah.
it.
Just fast.
Secret comes out.
Christmas traditions. Actually, speaking of traditions, when I was little, every year my mother and father would get me a Hallmark ornament, and they would write on the back of it like what year and like from mom and dad, and then my grandma would get me another one, and I have this whole collection of assorted, because there was a time I went through like Barbies, and then there was a time I was like into trucks, and so every year you can kind of see a progression of interests of what I was into at the time.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How about you,
That's
Brett?
awesome. My parents have Christmas Eve at their house. All of us host different holidays and stuff. Christmas Eve we have with the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents. I won't name names, but some of them drink a lot. Some of them say a lot of weird stuff. But
Some of them say they drink a lot and say a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And it's chaotic, but it's so much fun. It's
Right.
so much fun. It's filled with so much love. And if I don't have that, I've only had that 3 or 4 times, because my wife's family's from St. Louis. So, but if I don't have that, it doesn't quite feel
the
like
same.
Christmas has happened. And so what we've done now is we have often done the Christmas Eve and Christmas at St. Louis, and then we have that same kind of tradition like December 28th or something. But then it feels like, and now the holidays have actually happened on the 28th for me, for whatever
Well,
reason.
at least you spread it out.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
What about you, Nikki?
So one of my favorite traditions that we do over Christmas, out of the many that my family does, is every Christmas I take pictures of the whole entire time that I'm home. And I put all the pictures in a book, and I include, some of my favorite sayings and letters and poems to my family, and I publish it. And every Christmas Eve, I give a book to every member of our family, and we open it on Christmas Eve, and it's always fun to see what the cover was, and we get to kind of reminisce about what the last year has meant to all of us, what's changed, what hasn't changed. And I think it's just a really fun, special way to memorialize our time together each year.
Oh, wow.
I
That's
am
really
so
sweet.
impressed, girl. How long does this take you, though, to do this? Is it like all?
She
is it
has
all
the full year.
or do you do it like section like a week at a time?
Just
or
saying.
I mean,
got
I'm
11
really
months
into
to
this.
prep.
I love this idea. I think it's fantastic.
Well, it also sets the bar as well. Okay, guys, here's how much fun we had last year. We better make sure
Better
we
make
have
it
more
better.
fun this year.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
My family
hysterical.
only, when I was growing up as a kid, we always were so excited about Christmas, me and my brother, that we would get one gift we could open Christmas Eve.
Oh.
Just one. But it had to be the smallest one under the tree.
Really?
Which was kind
Sometimes
of, my
the
mom used
smallest
to,
one is the
she
best.
always
I
said,
know,
good
I
things
knew-
come
I
in
knew you were
small
gonna say-
packages.
Right.
So anyway, we'd get one, and that was kind of our big tradition. So I do it with my kids now, but they open up one and they can't stop. So
No, I understand.
and they
You
always
just
pick the
get
biggest
one.
one, which is anyway.
You know, we used to have a tradition. We would go and cut down our own Christmas trees because we were in Northern California. I grew up in the Bay Area, and you know, there's Christmas tree farms 45 minutes from there. You know, and it's great. You go there with the saw and stuff, and you pick the right one, and it takes forever.
Yeah.
But I remember we always used to get donuts. And we would go there, and then we would have whatever they were offering. It's usually like hot cider or hot cocoa or something.
Yeah.
And then I would always get the sprinkled donut. And to this day, every time I have a sprinkled donut, I think of it. It's the white.
Yes,
it's the white donut with the multicolored sprinkles on top.
Where's
To
our
this
director
day,
Ian?
it
We
is my
should have brought
favorite.
sprinkled donuts this morning.
I was a little disappointed. That was in the contract. It's okay. I'm here. I'm, fulfilling my end of it. But yeah, donuts would have been nice. Would have been nice if you read the email, but that's fine. No, but I loved it. And now it's so simple. Now you put them in an Amazon box and send them.
exactly.
I mean, that's how it goes. But I would like to do that now that I have a daughter. That's something that we could bring back.
One child?
Yeah, and she's 6.
Well, my
going
daughter's
on
4. I have a
18.
4 and a 6-year-old.
Oh.
Yeah, my daughter's 4 going on wanting to get married already.
So earlier, I didn't get the answer. Do you guys, did this movie and being a part of this movie, did it change your belief in miracles?
Well, we skillfully avoided that question. And here we are now.
Here we are, back to the question. I mean, for me, I feel like, I don't know. I was, raised mother and father and my grandmother always, her big thing to me was always like, every day above ground is a miracle. So I feel like, I don't know. I mean, if you think about so many different things that had to come together to create you and to be here and to, mishaps. And I played a lot of sports growing up and did a lot of surfing and got caught in some undertows growing up and some crazy things happened. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I've always believed in miracles in whatever way, shape, big or small they come.
Right.
Well said.
You're not going to be able to
No,
beat
thanks,
that,
Amy.
correct?
Yeah, thanks. Follow that.
Can I get your sprinkled donut?
It's a parting gift.
That'll do it. Yeah. It's a miracle when that will arrive. No, I think that. I mean, certainly, I think that I've always been a believer in miracles. Yeah, because when you just slow down and think about pretty much anything, it's a miracle that anything happens. This cup of coffee, the thousands of hands that have come across, picking the beans and crushing it and going to the hand, and whoever made this thing. I mean, really anything that you look at long enough is a true miracle, and that we're here. And I don't know how any of my body works, but it does. And thankfully my heart is still pumping, and like all of this stuff is a miracle. I think for me, to kind of answer your question, is I think what it did for me is it reminded me of the goodness in the world. And I think that that's all secretly why we like Hallmark films, is that we maybe kind of know how the story is going to end. Probably a happy ending. Probably they're going to get together. But I think that in the end of it, it reminds us that there is still goodness. There is still kindness, selflessness, hope, joy, and it's okay. And I think the holidays are a time where it's okay to kind of just be sentimental. We can be jaded the rest of the year.
And we need more of it in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, especially in watching these things, of course, but also in doing them, you can't help but be infected by it.
No.
And
your guys'
take it
movie
on.
touched that in spades, and
Yeah, thank you.
it was really
Thank you.
wonderful to watch, and it was a great time at the Grove to see it. So
Yeah.
It is beautiful. Thank you guys
course,
so
of course.
much for coming and hanging out with us today. Brett Dalton, Amy Teagarden, Once Upon a Christmas Miracle. If you haven't seen it,
see it.
because it really is worthy of you sitting down and watching, and your performances are incredible.
Well, you're very sweet, and thank you for that. And I wanted to thank you guys as well. I brought my parents to this. I've never seen my mom more starstruck. I mean, I've worked with some people. She's been on some sets. You know, I've talked about this. I've talked about that. There's a lot of cool things that have happened in my career, thank God. But I have never seen her so starstruck as she was. I mean, she knew all of your guys' names. She is like your biggest fan, and I think she took like one selfie and was like, "Okay, I'm done." Like life made. It was incredible. So thank you guys for that. You made my mom
Oh, it's
very, very
kind.
happy.
Say hi to her from us.
I will.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for having us. And honestly, like, this movie was such a pleasure to work on. The entire cast, crew, and the real life couple were just, I mean, talk about getting a restored faith in humanity. And also, hopefully, you know, with watching this movie, it's Christmas and it's wonderful, and it is such a gift, I feel like, to be able to watch it and to take something away from it. And if the only thing you take away is thinking about signing up for organ donation, it's so easy. Go online through your DMV. It's a little box to tick, and you can help so many people.
Oh yeah. No, the message was beautiful. It was a beautiful story for sure. So thank you guys.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations again, you guys. And if you fans have not seen it, it is a must viewing. Not just during the holiday season, but all year round. So thanks for... Oh, there's a dog. I didn't even see.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
There's a dog.
Amy has a little... What kind of dog is that?
She's a Yorkie.
A Yorkie.
Yeah. She actually came out to Winnipeg with us to shoot. She was a little bit cold because she's about 4 pounds.
Oh, you guys filmed this in Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Winterpeg is what
Winterpeg. It's a magical city. Hey, Winnie the Pooh's from there. So.
Yeah.
That was our unofficial mascot that you're seeing right
Yeah.
now.
Beautiful. There are so many great Christmas movies to enjoy this season, not only on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, but also on Hallmark Channel as well. Countdown to Christmas features 22 quality new original movies.
Yes, it does. And you also don't want to miss Hallmark Channel's very own brand new Countdown to Christmas podcast episode. It's just another reason to spend more time with your family at Hallmark.
Absolutely. Well said, Nikki. Now, Memories of Christmas is a movie that reminds us all that no matter what life throws at us, there is always hope and new beginnings just around the corner.
Memories of Christmas is such a great movie. Brennan, I know you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Noelle, the character, she returns home with little Christmas spirit, but then she meets Dave, a local handyman who is played by Mark Taylor, and Noelle finds unexpected love and develops a joy for the holidays that she never thought possible.
Yes, and we are thrilled to have Mark with us today to talk about the movie and his own holiday memories. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Can you just give us a brief plot summary of what the movie's about and what they're going to be viewing?
The way I interpret it is that it's this young woman who's basically had tunnel vision in her career, and she's successful, but she's neglecting the other parts of life, some of the most important things in life. I would say kind of just fate or destiny or the universe kind of gives her this chance to go back home and experience what she kind of took for granted.
Right.
And in doing that, she meets someone who she connects with. We're kind of both in the same boat in the sense that we are neglecting something that we're craving, which is love. Maybe it's a little bit of a fear with both of us, and then we're kind of confronted with it. And it kind of just happens in a very natural, very charming way with a nice connection.
And was that one of the elements that really resonated with you, is that element of what's important during the Christmas time, getting connected to family and to what's more important? Because, you know, I love the scenes when you guys are eating that I don't know what kind of baked good it was. What was that baked? What was that? A croissant with chocolate? What was that? Because I want one now.
Or 4.
Or 4.
Yeah. What was it? I think it was an apple cider donut or something
Apple
like
cider
that. Something
donut.
like that.
That's
Wow.
right.
Wow.
Which, by the way, I've never had one of those. I didn't even know they existed.
Well, I want one right now. What drew you to this part? I mean, I'm sure you get offers to other stuff, and I mean, was this just something you read and you right off the bat you were like, oh, I love this story?
Yeah, the story was very seamless and it was well written, and I kind of related to the character in the sense that he's kind of like an athlete. Basketball was kind of like my thing, and just having those dreams of succeeding, and also the heartache that he kind of felt, which kind of made him kind of stay single for a while.
Right.
Yeah, and then you kind of lose that person, and then you kind of you want to step back and just stay away from it a little bit, and it's kind of like a I guess kind of like a fear thing.
You know, the movie touches on the plot point of obviously discussing that, you know, people can lose the Christmas spirit as they either get older, they get busier, they get into work. And what I really loved about the movie, and obviously Nikki and I can attest to how wonderful it was that even if you lose the Christmas spirit, you can always get it back. And sometimes you need experiences to remind us of what Christmas is all about. And they talk about spending Christmas in their hometown and their favorite Christmas memories. And I wanted to ask you if you had any favorite Christmas memories growing up.
I would say probably, you know, the gifts.
Yeah.
Like trying to open the wrapping a little bit and just to sneak and see what I possibly got. And in general, you know, it's kind of related to the movie in the sense that, you know, my parents kind of set the foundation and the aura of Christmas, and it was that excitement of believing in Santa Claus and going to bed on time, and then waking up, you know, with the anticipation and you know, excitement.
Mark, where are you from?
Well, I'm from Toronto, Canada.
And what was this time of the year like for you?
Kind of like what I said before, you know, it was just very warm feelings and just the excitement of it being a kid and wanting gifts and the anticipation of what you might get. And then it was also just family, you know, because family is a big thing for me, and just the love, the warmth, the coziness, just the
Right.
togetherness. You know, being away from whatever it is, people or home or whatever, you kind of get a chance to you know, appreciate it when you come back because you've been away from it for a while. So
Right.
I think that's kind of what happened to Noelle.
I mean, obviously, Christina is such a world-famous musician and singer, and this is her first film, I do believe, right, Nikki? Her first film for the network?
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
what was it like to work with her?
She was amazing, you know. I remember like when I got off the plane, I was with the driver, and he handed me, you know, a binder with all the schedule and the script and stuff like that. And I didn't know who the cast was going to be or anything. And then when I turned the page and I saw Christina's picture, I was like, wow, you know, it's just like amazing, you know.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, no doubt. The envy of every man.
Yeah. I mean, she was great. She was so down to earth, you know. She was very open.
So that was one of the things that I felt was really, really special in the movie was that you had mentioned to her you came back here and you just ended up staying. And, you know, I love the thing about Hallmark movie mysteries. There's a lot of this through line story point of finding what's important in life and having perspective. And this movie touched based on that. And I was wondering if maybe that was something that you really, you know, resonated with you as an actor.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like that kind of, when I think about it, it kind of just chokes me up. I kind of just got to hold it back a little bit because, and even in some of the scenes, you know, I was just like, just thinking about, you know, her coming to the realization of what she kind of missed and maybe took for granted a little bit. It was kind of like tear jerking a little bit in the scenes. I had to kind of hold it back a bit. But it's like her mother had this grand view of it, and it was just helping people, being there for people, caring about people. And you know, when she was younger, she didn't really appreciate it. She kind of looked at it as a negative thing, and then she comes back home after all these years of neglecting her home and her community, and then it's like she comes back and it's like, whoa, I was really missing out on all this. I really missed it, you know. So it's kind of sad in that sense. But you know, you just got to believe that there's always an opportunity for a second chance. You know, even if you don't have that much time, you just got to think positive and think that, you know what, I'm going to learn from this and do what I can to grow from it.
So, Mark, you mentioned that you were a basketball player. I also played sports when I was younger. So we're both athletes, but sometimes that does not translate to the ice, right? And in these movies, there's a lot of ice skating scenes. I just did one in my movie, and you have one in this movie, Brennan. I'm sure you've done like 4 of them. So my question is, how was the ice for you? How did you find ice skating for the first time? And also, you know, the one thing that I found to be difficult is doing these intimate scenes while you're ice skating for the first time. So how was that as well for you?
Yeah, I skated them maybe a couple times, but when I got to Vancouver, it was like, it felt like the first time, you know, I was totally off balance. But I knew that I could get it. We had a good instructor in Marcy Monroe. She really took the time and broke it down for us. And, you know, like I think I had maybe 5 sessions, and I was really starting to get the hang of it and starting to try little tricks and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just another part of the movie that I felt like if I wanted to make it look as real as possible because I didn't want a stunt double, and especially the scenes that had the ice skating were very intimate scenes, So I
Right.
didn't want them to be cutting away and it looked fake, like you've seen movies like that. So I wanted it to look as real as possible. So I took it really serious, and I asked the Marcy, is there anything I can do while I'm at home to work on, my balance and stuff like that? So she gave me little exercises. So yeah, I did it. It was fun though, and it was a very eye-opening. So I have a greater appreciation for ice skaters and speed skaters and hockey players. So
Well, I was a hockey player. I would
I
tell.
didn't know that. That's
Yes,
amazing.
you can always tell when someone doesn't know how to skate or play, and you did it admirably. And you and the other actor in the show, your nephew, I believe, you guys were skating, Adam, and playing, and it just looked seamless. And so, do you feel there's a sense of a different experience on sets with Hallmark versus other movies or other TV shows? Did you feel a sense of a warmth and family? And I mean, was it just a different experience for you? I just know from my personal experience, it's a wonderful. Not only a wonderful experience, but it does feel different.
I get asked all the time, why do I love doing Hallmark movies so much? And by the way, there's a myriad of reasons why I love doing Hallmark movies. And one of the reasons is because of the experience on set and the sense of family and community, and everyone is really and truly, they know how special these stories are.
You felt like you were a part of the community when you were watching that movie.
I did.
You're rooting for that community, and I really felt that as well. And Mark, it was such a great movie. Your chemistry with her was natural and effortless, and we were really, really proud to get a chance to talk to you, and so excited the fans get a chance to see it when it pops up again, and looking forward to seeing more Hallmark movies and more Hallmark movie mystery stuff that you'll do in the future, buddy.
yes, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Hopefully I'll get to be a part of the family a little bit more.
Absolutely. Merry
already
Christmas.
are a part of the family.
You already are. Yeah, absolutely. Merry Christmas, Mark, to you and yours, and we will definitely be talking to you soon.
You too.
Oh, Brennan, I'm so grateful. First of all, this has been so fun
I know,
to sit
right?
here with you and do this. And I'm just so excited that we now have a venue in this space to be able to talk about all the amazing movies that are coming out and to talk to all the great actors that are
Absolutely.
involved. And when Christmas is over, the great new movies and series on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, they're just beginning.
Absolutely. So excited. So everyone at home, subscribe to this podcast so you can get the latest on among the many new mysteries coming to Hallmark Movies and Mysteries in 2019. We've got Chronicle Mysteries starring the lovely Allie Sweeney, and new crossword mysteries with Lacey Chabert and some guy named Brennan Knight, I guess, is sitting right here with you. And I gotta tell you, and I'm not self-promoting, but this is a fun. Lacey and I obviously did the All in My Heart series, but this is a totally different light and different characters, and it's so funny and so much fun, and I'm really excited to work with her again on something and to share that with the fans. And of course, Aurora Teagarn Mysteries will be back, of course, with Candace Cameron Bure. We would love to hear from all of you, so make sure you leave your comments. Nikki, I just want to close by saying it's been an honor and a privilege. Hopefully we get to do some films together in the future. I've always wanted to work with you, and working with you has been such a pleasure, and I hope we do one every day of every week forever, because I've had such a blast, and it's important to get this information to all the fans that love this channel as much as you and I do.
Oh, thank you for saying that. And I absolutely agree. I was just so excited that we got to sit here and do this together and work together. And also, give something back to the audience who has given so much to our network and to us. We love you guys so much.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. And, have a Merry, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Hallmark Channel's official podcast is produced by IKA Collective for Crown Media Networks, copyright 2018.